Hello guys and gals, Buffalo here, coming at you from the rainy Buffalo range. It's raining on me right now. But I've got a little bit of a confession to make to you guys. I am hooked on these 22 LR pistols. I can't get enough of them. These reciprocating slide style 22 LR pistols. I shoot a lot with these things. Don't really save any money. People say you save money by shooting 22 LR. I don't really save any money, but I shoot a heck of a lot more shooting 22 LR. So this is the Walther PPQ. Now, I really needed this pistol, guys. I mean, I really needed it. Okay, so I probably didn't really need it, but I really wanted it. When I saw this thing, I saw that it comes with a lot of the features that I like on my 22 LR reciprocating slide style pistols. I'm not talking about the traditional style pistols. I like those too, but those for a different purpose for me. These are more of a training pistol for me. Get out and run drills and things with and sharpen my skills in that way. Whereas the other style are more like traditional hunting or target style pistols. But I really love this style of pistol. And when I saw this one, again, you know, it just had everything on it that I would want on one of these. It came with the fiber optic sights right out of the box. I didn't have to add that like I do on my other ones. Fully adjustable steel sight in the rear here. Got a adjustment screw for elevation, a set screw that you can loosen and slide that sight back and forth for windage adjustments. I didn't have to make any windage adjustments with this pistol. I did have to adjust the elevation. It was shooting pretty high out of the box. I adjusted that down and it was just fine. Now it does, in the box that it came with a second fiber optic sight, a taller one. So if you weren't able to adjust it down far enough with the rear sight, you could put that taller sight on here. And this is, it just has a little screw holding it on from under the slide. So it's easy enough to change that out if you wanted to or needed to. What else was I going to, man, this rain is really going to start coming down. Whew. But they done a really good job. It looks like the centerfire version of this pistol. Manual of arms is the same as the centerfire version. This is a hammer fired pistol, whereas the centerfire version is striker fired. That's the main difference between this and the centerfire version. Steel magazines. Magazine release is here, and it is reversible. You can swap that around to the other side if you're a lefty and prefer it on that side. But it does eject the magazines. Slide stop is ambidextrous. You can operate that from either side. So you can swap the mag release around and run the slide stop from either side. Pretty handy if you're a lefty and looking for features like that. Slide is aluminum, frame is polymer. No manual safety. That was a biggie for me. I didn't want a manual safety on this type of gun. The guns that I actually carry on a daily basis, this is not a carry gun for me. This is an understudy or training gun. If you carry one of these, I have no problem with that. But from my point of view, I look at it as a training gun or understudy gun. And the guns that I actually carry don't have a manual safety, so I didn't want one on my training gun. I didn't want to develop a muscle memory of operating a safety when I didn't need to. So, Picatinny reel, you can mount whatever you want there. If you run a light on your centerfire PPQ and you want to practice with that same balance and feel, you can put the light on this one or whatever. You know, you can mount whatever you want there. Excellent little gun. I'll do a takedown for you guys and show you this gun. Show you the insides. I got to get out of this rain. Okay, so I found us a dry place for now. Looking at the radar, it looks like those showers will move on through and we'll be able to get back down to the Buffalo range. But while we're up here, we'll go ahead and do that takedown I was talking about. The first thing we'll want to do is clear the gun. We'll remove our magazine. Make sure there's nothing in the chamber. This gun does not have a magazine safety, meaning that if there's a round in the chamber, even with the magazine removed, the gun can still fire. Now, I prefer that. I don't like a magazine disconnect safety in my pistols, but I'm just warning you, this gun can fire without the magazine installed. So after we've cleared the gun and removed the magazine, we'll want to pull down on our takedown tabs. They can be pretty stiff sometimes. Pull those down, pull the slide to the rear of the gun, raise the rear of the slide up, and let it come forward. Of course, this is all a lot easier to do if you're not trying to do it through a camera viewfinder. Here's our recoil spring. This is our guide rod and our buffer. Then you've got your lower assembly here, and this is as far as you'll need to go in most cases. You can clean the bore good from here, clean everything pretty good without going down any farther. But we'll go ahead and remove the barrel since we're down this far. It does come with this wrench to fit your thread protector. So we'll go ahead and remove that. So there's what that looks like. And we'll remove the barrel shroud. And the barrel pulls out like this. So here's your barrel. Got the Walther markings there. 22 LR. There's your barrel threads. Chambers on this end. Feed ramp. So that's all there is to taking it down. As you can see, it's pretty simple. Just a blowback operated 22 pistol. Here's a look at I told you guys it was hammer fired. Here's a look at the hammer. Now you don't want to pull the trigger with the gun taken apart like this. You can damage parts. But I'll put my thumb on here and put pressure on the hammer. Pull the trigger. Just so you guys can see. There's the hammer. Of course, the hammer will come up and strike the firing pin that's inside this steel block in here, and that's what will set the round off. This is an aluminum slide with steel parts. This firing pin block is steel. The breech face is steel. You got steel inserts here. This is where the slide stop catches, and that's a steel slide stop, so it would eventually eat into that aluminum if not for a little steel insert. So they've made sure that it's going to last a while and not wear out very quickly. Here's that front sight, and here's the spare front sight. I was telling you guys it came with two front sights. Here's the spare taller one. You can see it's got a little screw in it there, and it comes with a tool that you can change that. And here's your access point. I know I'm not going to be able to show you that screw on this camera, but you just go through this access point and loosen the screw up and change your sight that way if you need to. And this 5-inch barreled option or model might have different sights and things than the other models, so keep that in mind. I don't know that the 4-inch model has fiber optic sights. I'm just showing you what came on this 5-inch model. It's got some lightning holes in it. It is a very long slide, so they have to keep that weight down so that it'll function with the blowback operating system they use on these 22 LRs. So we can just go ahead and put it back together just the opposite way it came apart. We'll slide our, go ahead and cock that hammer back. Slide our barrel in. You want your feed ramp down, of course. The barrel shroud has a notch in it. That notch goes onto the barrel first and onto the bottom. You'll hear it click right in there. Of course, our thread protector. And I put a little mark on here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, you can see it. The little yellow mark. I put that on there myself before I started, just so that I know exactly where it was. And just line those marks back up. Got it back together just like it was. This is your guide rod and buffer. Remember, this has a flat side and a cutout side for the recoil spring. You want to make sure that that recoil spring sits down inside that cutout side. You don't want it sitting up on top, the flat side. So we'll put that on there with the cutout facing forward. This has a U shape to it. The U shape goes down into the frame of the pistol. The recoil spring sits over the guide rod and down into that buffer. Start your recoil spring into the slot in the slide and drop your slide back on. Snap your takedown tabs back into place. You're done. Pretty simple takedown, easy gun to take care of. Now, let's see if we can get back down to the range. Love the ergonomics of this pistol. It feels like it was made for my hand. All the controls are right where they're supposed to be. Extra large trigger guard, plenty of room in there. I love that. Just Walther has the ergos nailed down. Now, one thing I have noticed about this pistol is it likes to be lubed up. Whenever it starts to run dry, it'll start hanging up a little bit, start not going all the way in the battery and that sort of thing. Don't be afraid to throw some oil on it. It likes to be lubed. Do a little walk and shoot here. We're at about 43 yards or so. Need to stop talking and start watching my sights, don't I? These magazines, it comes with two of these steel 12-round magazines. And one thing I've noticed with them, they're almost identical to my Smith & Wesson full-size M&P 22 magazines. And it has the same issue. You have to be careful when you jam it up in here on a locked back slide or the top round. If you slam it in there very hard, the top round will stand up like that. So you can't just slam your magazines in. Now if the slide's closed, it doesn't matter. But on a open slide, you have to give it a little softer touch inserting those magazines. Trigger is very nice. I wouldn't ask for much more in a trigger. I don't know what the trigger pull, the weight is on that trigger, but we can find out. I've got my scale over here. I'm going to drop an empty case into the chamber. It's because I don't like, it won't hurt it to dry fire it a time or two, but I don't like to do that with my 22s. Save the dry fire for the center fire rounds. But let's see what kind of pull weight we get. I'm at 0 here. £4 pounds, 7 ounces. So not a really light trigger, certainly not a heavy trigger, not a really light trigger, but there's a lot more to a trigger than just the pull weight. See if I can do this without ejecting that spent case. The take up on this trigger, you can see here, you got that initial take up, then it's a really clean break. Reset, short and sweet. You could really shoot this gun fast if you took the time to learn that trigger. Try some one-handed here. Haven't had any trouble with the slide not locking back. I do have a habit of resting my strong hand thumb into place that'll keep it from locking back. I'll keep the slide stop held down sometimes, but I haven't had that problem with this particular gun. It is a problem I have with some of the others though. Been working on that, trying to do better. I've also been working on trying to smarten up my dumb hand. Let's see if I can hit anything with it. Man, I still need work. Alright guys, gonna have to bring this video to a close. This is an excellent standalone 22 LR training pistol, even if you don't already own the centerfire version of the PPQ. If you do own the centerfire version of the PPQ, I'd definitely recommend one of these. Great little training aid, training tool. Pretty much feels like the centerfire version, and all your controls are the same. The ergonomics are the same. You don't get any interchangeable back straps or anything with the 22 version, but still very closely mimics the full size, or the centerfire version I should say. It is a full size pistol, but it closely matches the centerfire version. So, but even if you don't have the PPQ, I would highly recommend this as just a standalone 22 pistol to have, to do some training with, or to just do some plinking with, or whatever it is that you want to do with your 22. This would be a great pistol to do it with. This was the holster I was using today. People usually ask about the holsters, and 9 times out of 10 I forget to tell you what I'm using. This is a Black Scorpion outdoor gear holster, or Black Scorpion gear holster. This is a Kydex holster. It's got the carbon fiber look to it. Great holster. Got the loop that opens up. You can snap that on over your belt. Adjust for your belt size. So I'll link this holster in the description through my Amazon affiliate link, if I can remember to do so. If you don't see it there, remind me. Man, I have trouble sometimes remembering to do that stuff. Appreciate all you guys watching. Appreciate my Patreon team. You guys continue to make this channel great. I've got some plans with this month's Patreon donations. I'm going to actually build a bench over here. I'm pointing over here like you guys know where it's at, but I'm going to make a bench down here. I don't have a lot of room at this range, but I'm going to put in a good solid bench where I can do some bench testing. I usually do that in the prone position off the shooting mat, but I think I can do better. When I'm doing accuracy testing, I like to get the most out of the firearm, and I think having that bench here will help. It'll only be a 60-yard range bench. I don't have room to put in a 100-yard range. I would love to, but it would just put me too far back, too up close to the neighborhood there. But I can run it sideways here and get 60 yards out of it, and that'll do pretty good. You know, you can get a pretty good idea of accuracy at 50 yards, especially with rimfire stuff, shotgun slugs, and that sort of thing. So I think it'll be, and handguns, I think it'll be a big help to the channel to have that. So that's what I'm planning on doing with this month's Patreon money when it rolls over. So, but that's all I got. I appreciate all you guys. Appreciate my subscribers. Appreciate all the comments. I can't get to every comment anymore. I try my best to. I read pretty much all of them. Some of them even get away from me there. And YouTube also doesn't notify me sometimes. I'll have, as a creator, I've got a tab there that says held for review. And it'll tell me on certain videos, you've got 23 comments held for review, and I'll click on that and there's nothing there. I can't get to them. It won't show me the comments. It won't let me review them. So if I missed your comment, I try to read them all, but you can always reach me through my email or message me on Patreon or through Facebook, and I can try to get back to you that way. The comments sometimes YouTube just doesn't. The YouTube comment system is not a good system to get a hold of me if you need something important. I do try to read all of them, try to get back to them all, but it's just really tough. But that's all I got, and I'll talk with you all again soon.